This is the town of St Osyth, 5 miles west of Clacton-on-Sea in the county of Essex. Many guidebooks would list the main points of historical interest as the superb remains of a medieval priory from 1118, or the church of St Peter and Paul right in the centre of town, still in regular use. There is one place in this town, however, that is not as idyllic as the rest. Much like many other English towns, St Osyth was once gripped with a witch hunt fever. According to local historians, in 1582, 13 women were accused of witchcraft here, and most were imprisoned before awaiting trial, and some were hanged shortly after. Locally known as the Cage, this was that prison. From the outside, the cage just looks like any other house in St Osyth. A 2-bedroom semi-detached house sitting just by the roadside. The inside, however, shows its age with its Tudor beams and low ceilings. However, the house has remained unoccupied for the last 2 years for a very specific reason. The last occupant, living with her son, had been experiencing paranormal activity for a number of years until one final event which proved just too much to handle.
Well, I was a single parent in here. My son was 5-6 months old. So I was in the prison room and I was doing the ironing. And Jessie's toys, they started going off. They had all electric, all the toys the kids have these days. And I thought, here we go. Anyway, I kind of ignored it, because you have to, because I'm paying the mortgage. I can't just sell it within a day. And I walked through, I went up to the stairs, and as I've opened the stairs door, I've seen a man standing at the top of the stairs. And he had like a pair of chinos on type thing. But they were modern day clothes. And I went to put the iron up, you ducked to go, went to take the ironing up, and I saw him and I thought that was it. And I was scared of him. Now the other two I'd seen in here since, I wasn't scared of those. If anything, I was fascinated, but when I saw him, and that was it. It was clearly not a person as you are, but I could see the colour of the trousers, I could see the shoes and I could see the shirt. I knew I could see those trousers and shoes and shirt, and I knew where he was standing, and I knew he wasn't real. And to me that was, and I had the ironing, and I literally was terrified that was it. And within a few days, a few weeks, that was it, I was gone.
However, far from being an isolated incident, many previous residents have left the house as a result of this kind of activity.
Nothing at first. I mean, you tend to ignore it or just try and rationalise it, I suppose. That's nothing. It's an old building. Like, things creak, things things happen. You hear things, but after it happens once, you put it down to that. It happens the second time, you put it down to that. It happens every day, and eventually you can't fail. I mean, I was a complete sceptic. I wouldn't have given you the time of day. I would have said you're all mad. But once you live in a place like this, you can't argue against it. It's fact. It's in your face every day. Yeah, in the bathroom upstairs, and it was in the morning. It weren't night. It weren't like all night and dark and everything. It was broad daylight. I was just had a shower, going to work, and there was someone standing behind me, clear as day, just like someone was just spraying the back of my head with that consistent while I was brushing my teeth. And it weren't like once in a blue moon. It was like every other day, every 2-3 days. Like, you'd feel it building up and building up and building up, and just go out, just like go to a walk, go to the pub, go somewhere else, go anywhere.
The team on the night was comprised of professional investigators, mediums and local historians. They were all in search of what those previous residents and others had mentioned they'd seen and felt in this house. And it was not long before we saw some results. They began by using an electromagnetic field detector, or EMF detector for short. The device not only reads levels of electromagnetic energy, but can also be used to communicate with spirits around it.
Device that you have in your everyday life gives off some sort of energy.
Yeah.
we can measure it like mobile phones. We can use this device to measure that energy. But the presence of spirit also gives off energy, and this is what we're detecting because it's intermittent. It comes and it disappears, and there's no reason for that. Yeah.
After barely getting the device out of the box, it started responding incredibly well to the questions asked.
That's really strong. Keep coming towards me, please. Are you female? Make that flash really fast if you're female. Are you male?
Yes.
Can you stop? Stop.
Oh!
If you're questioning the sensitivity of this device, I had to hold a mobile phone right next to it just to purposefully make it beep once or twice. But this was different, and the readings much stronger than usual.
Of you are here. Yes.
During the course of the night, it appeared that the EMF device was responding to questions asked by increasing its energy levels.
Are you stuck here?
Are you stuck here? No.
Are you happy here?
Unless they're both, when it stops, once they're taken over.
Because that's
However, all was not that easy. One of the mediums, Gemma, was forced to go outside because she felt the strong presence of a girl in agony in the house.
She was on me, and it just overwhelmed me because she was just there. I could hear her crying, I could see her crying, and it just really inconsolable crying, and it was just like no one listened. Why didn't they listen? Like, you know, no one's listening. Like, just getting angry and crying, and you know when you get so angry you just can't stop crying, and that just overwhelmed me, and I just...
Gemma, earlier in the day, had envisioned something down the alleyway running behind the back of the house. We went down with the historian to see if she could better identify what it was she was seeing.
Being carried, and dragged, like, mishappily. I've just got, like, at the moment, of literally someone just dragging, you know, someone along. I'm not picking up anything of, like, you know, of individual people. It's like I'm just seeing that happening. Did they take any, like, bodies out of there and take them up here to bury, or...?
Yes.
What Gemma is describing is remarkably accurate. It's known only locally as Coffin Walk, and Gemma is no local. In fact, she's never been here before.
When you're saying you're feeling bodies being dragged along,
Yeah.
this is just narrow enough for a cart to fit a coffin on.
Okay.
So it's not anything horrible you're seeing, but you are completely accurate.
Okay.
Body, because the church is that way.
Right.
And that's been a closed graveyard for a long time because it's so full.
Right.
So the new graveyard for the village is at the top of this walk.
Right.
It's about a 5-minute, 10-minute walk, if that.
Okay.
So they would have the church service there,
Yeah.
pop the body on large wheeled carts, and slowly bring the
Okay
body
then, yeah.
and the coffin up for burial.
Because everyone was going this way. It was all going this way.
Yeah.
I was just
So
no, that
the concept of a person being dragged is exactly
Okay.
that's what it is. They would have been wheeled up on a big cart, and that's why it's called Coffin Walk. We've just taken a walk up the alleyway outside the house with Gemma, because she came out here earlier and said that she could feel something almost as if a person was being dragged along. So I knew the reasons for that, and we decided to come back later in the dark when she'd had a little bit more time to think about it. And when we came out, again, she picked up on it straight away, and this time she was a little more specific and said she did feel as if it was people being carried or dragged along. And then she said, did they bring dead bodies up here? So at this point I then explained that the alley we're walking up to is actually called Coffin Walk. Locally it's known as Coffin Walk, and it was the pathway from the church up to the cemetery for burial. So yes, coffins and people were brought up there on a small wheeled cart, like a funeral procession, up to the cemetery. So the fact that she got that was very good. Very good. She was very accurate in her description of that, and there's no way she could have known that because it's only locally known as Coffin Walk. It's not listed on any maps. So yeah, that was very good.
This is, gosh, because I've never done this before. It's just mad.
Yeah, we're done. Can we go back? Yeah.
Earlier that day, I'd caught up with historian Shilan, who explained what others had experienced in the upstairs bathroom. The same upstairs bathroom John, our previous resident, had once felt someone standing behind him.
In fact, quite a few experienced mediums have tried, and they have literally recoiled and stepped back and refused point blank to go in there. They're just saying it's very, very uncomfortable. There's something, you know, if you want to use the terms dark entity, I don't know, but they really don't like being in there.
Later on that night, I asked our medium, Gemma, to go into the bathroom to see what she felt. She, like others before, had the same aggressive feeling coming from the room.
Oh no, fuck that shit. Sorry. No.
Okay.
No. What happened? It was horrible. No,
What did you feel?
no, it's just like this.
Is it like pressure being released from the room?
Like, excuse my pen, but get the fuck back out. That's what I just thought, like, no.
Is it?
Yeah, that's how I felt.
What Gemma was experiencing mirrored other mediums who had gone before her. What added to the mystery, however, was the revelation that a man had tragically taken his own life right outside this bathroom door only 5 years ago. Adding to this, when we went back to the children's room, we found that the table you can see here on the left had been moved in front of the door from the inside.
Behind the door. Okay. So that's the only thing when I open this door.
Look, the table's been moved.
The table's been moved.
Really?
The door.
The table's behind the door.
The cage certainly gave us enough to keep us on our toes. For 2 years it's remained empty, unable to be lived in, and we were starting to realise why. For now, we'll leave it empty, a medieval prison and a family home. Either way, this place seems unable to escape its past.